one of the things that I noticed as I interviewed these old folks, and they were wonderful guys, you know, ladies too, by the way, you know, people in their 90s that were still sharp as a tack, and they loved to tell you stories about the old days and such. So not only did I begin to learn some of the songs that they were singing, they began to show up in some of the songs I was writing. And one of them was a wonderful old man whose name was Homer Biedenbender. And Homer Biedenbender lived just west of Rushville, Illinois on US 24, out in the country. He was an old-time blacksmith by trade, but he was the last of the old-time fiddlers in west central Illinois. And I went to interview him one rainy afternoon, and well, I'll tell you what I remember just like it was yesterday. He took me out to this old tin shed that was the blacksmith shop, and he sat me down and he started to tell me stories about the old days. And he told me how he had played fiddle for almost every square dance in Brown County, Illinois, from 1930 right on into the 1960s. And he said folks would dance just about anywhere, for any reason at all. It was high entertainment in those days. Oh, the old one-room schoolhouse in the country was perfect. They just pushed the desks back against the wall. Maybe an empty barn. In a town, it might be a storefront or a church basement. Heck, he told me if you lived out in the country in a big old farmhouse, sometimes on a Friday or a Saturday night, you'd hear it banging on your front door. And before you could even get there to answer it, that door would get busted open and a half a dozen big burly men would come barging into your living room unannounced and unexpected. They would pick up your furniture and they would carry it out and set it down on your front lawn. Then come back in and they would roll up your carpets and take them out and set them down in the front lawn. And then they would come in one more time. They would walk right up to the owner of the house and they'd say, "We're having a dance here tonight, and well, you folks are invited too." Homer would tell me these stories and he'd laugh and cackle. Well, after about an hour, I got up my nerve and I asked him, I said, "Hey, Homer, do you think you might play something for me?" And he'd just been waiting. He reached right up above his head, right into the rafters, brings down this beat-up wooden box, pulls out this old black fiddle, and he starts to tune it up. Now, you know, all you got to do is look at the stage. I love old instruments. So I was checking it out, you know, to see what he had. And as I looked at it, I realized that fiddle wasn't painted black at all. That fiddle had been carved out of black walnut lumber. Now here in Illinois, black walnut's a native lumber. It's a hardwood, a wood with a tight, fine grain, and it's a deep chocolate brown color. And you see used for a lot of furniture, but I'd never seen it used for a fiddle before. So I asked him about it. And he told me. He said right around 1930, he had taught himself how to play on a neighbor's borrowed instrument. And when it came time to return that fiddle, he didn't have any cash money to buy one of his own. But you know, folks in 1930 didn't let stuff like that stop. And Homer said it occurred to him that if he could teach himself how to play the fiddle, well, he, by God, could figure out how to build one. And he did. And he told me the story of that old walnut fiddle as the rain came down on that tin shed. And friends, it was just 10 days later that Homer passed away. And when I heard the news, I remembered his story and I wrote this song for him. This is the Walnut Fiddle for Homer Biedenbender. This old fiddle's made of walnut from a tree down by the road that must have stood 100 years. Planted by my great-grandfather long ago when he first settled on this farm, sheltered it from harm. Past of 3 he set out all together in a row. Reaching up into the heavens like a hand outstretched to God, it stood the years, all the bitter tears, hanging down across that highway folks would pass. They'd brush the branches and scatter the nuts. Those old Model A cars would crush. well-weathered man, gather 'em up into a battered truck. Oh, but then one day the prairie sky turned dark and bleak, and soon the wind began to scream and howl. We hid beneath the staircase as the thunder shook the ground. When it passed, that ancient tree was down. I sawed the boards, carved the body, shaved this neck. I turned these tuning pegs by hand. Oh, it ain't grand. Pull that bow across the strings and you'll hear the tones of cool, clear streams and whippoorwills in a rolling hills. 100 years of winter snow and summer rain, rains from its grain. Ain't much to look at, it's just an old black fiddle sitting there with strings of rust, all caked with rosin dust. But if you need to remember who you are, where you come from, well, just pick up that bow. Ah, she'll let you know. She'll sing 'em open prairie skies and old days and simpler ways. This old fiddle's made of walnut from a tree that must have stood 100 years.